Hebrews 10 verse 25. Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more, as ye see the day approaching.
Question. Pastor Wind, in your birthday speeches over the past 2 years, let us understand the teaching of the tree of good and evil, and the logical ring. Understand the importance of character. Now, you recall the experience in a way of thinking back to those days. One of the most significant differences between the Church of Zion established by you and other churches, Zion focuses on that, except for the Lord's Day gatherings. There's also the Zell group gathering system and the discipleship system. In contrast, other churches have fellowship or counseling, but the pastor used the family system in Zion. We also arranged Zell group gathering leaders and follow-up persons. Come help brothers and sisters thrive in their faith. If you are a disciple, you will have a spiritual master to train you. Why did Pastor come up with the family system and the discipleship system? To help us develop in our faith.
Indeed, in the 10 years since I believed in the Lord, family and discipleship systems are popular all over the world. Especially in Hong Kong, some of the charismatic churches that have followed Yonggi Cho's leadership model, the home cluster system is very popular because they find it effective. In addition, discipleship systems were still popular at the time. There are many books and teachings on this subject. The mother church I attended in Canada, there is also a home gathering system and a discipleship system, from which I have benefited. These two systems can be said to set up an established lifestyle for believers, to inspire each other easily and inadvertently. In fact, before, the church community generally did not have a home gathering system and discipleship system, but only fellowship, Sunday meetings, or special gatherings. However, these give people a false feeling, because even if you participate every week and see more than 100 people, even hundreds of people, but that's it. You do a lot of private visits, but it's not a regular way, to allow you to find a reason that leads to transmission in faith. Basically, all churches that practice these two systems, it's all about population growth, especially the family cluster system. They studied Yonggi Cho for only one reason, to have as many people as their church. At first, Mr. Cho's church was not significant. But he had a heart attack, and the doctor told him he couldn't preach anymore. He was laid up for 10 years. In the meantime, he came up with a solution, is to let the sisters lead the family. He had talked to the church elders about this proposal, none of them agreed. Finally, in anger, so I really found a sister to practice it. Yonggi Cho used his sermon tape on Romans as a demonstration tape. The sisters would gather at home to share the same. Through this model, they managed to find a reason, an opportunity, a way, to reach more people, thereby spreading the gospel and achieving growth. When I was working on the family cluster system and the discipleship system, they also have a problem. What is it? It's just not sustainable. In terms of the family cluster system, the influence of their family cluster on people is minimal. Because the information shared is only enough to last for 1 year, it will then be repeated. As a result, their family gatherings were constantly divided, usually, up to 14 people stay. This kind of division is uninterrupted. If you stay in a specific Zell group for 10 years, then, you would listen to the sister explain the book of Romans 10 times. So even if you haven't been split off, it's useless. But in the division process, you have listened to this message 3 or 4 times. Then you can share it. That's how they operate. And indeed, they increased in number but could not sustain it. It means that the growth is mostly a bunch of pawns, because they are not using it to help others grow in faith. So, I set up a B family, because I don't expect to share information for just a year. This is impossible. After all, how poor their faith is, only have 1 year's worth of information to share. Imagine sharing only once a week, that's 52 articles a year, and yet they keep repeating, how do you become a priest? They have persisted for half a century. Indeed, if the Lord does not return, our church is also approaching its half-century of existence, but we can get through half a century without repeating it. I found that they had a problem, is the failure to take advantage of this opportunity in the home aggregation system, to support and build the Christian faith. I have set up A and B family clusters so as not to repeat sharing like Yonggi Cho. Because I won't repeat it. If you return to Zion 20 years from now, and the previous message is gone, so how do you make sense of this week's message, and next week, and the week after that? You'll be entirely out of touch, like a kindergartner going off to college. Hebrews 10 verse 25. Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more, as ye see the day approaching.
其實家聚系統同埋對一系統 set up 咗一個既定嘅生活習慣，導致到我哋好輕易地可以互相去感染嘅。事實上，普遍教會界有冇對一系統喎，有冇家聚，淨係主日特別聚會或者係 fellowship， 但係嗰個唔能夠話有一個嘅固定嘅方式，揾到個 reason 導致信仰上嘅傳遞。
In this paradise we found, we're all connected, inspiring one another, we're never neglected. Life intertwines, we're living symphony. Our faith keeps growing. It's an unbreakable speed.
家聚或者對一嘅模式當中都有個問題嘅，就發現佢哋係無以為繼，因為對人嘅影響係有限嘅，因為佢哋嘅家聚嘅信息係得1年嘅啫，1年之後係 repeat 嘅，即係話佢冇利用呢個方式導致人哋嘅信仰更加好啊！咁所以我哋因為咁設計咗 AB 家聚。